Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of the Late Night Show. Actually, Mickey Ficky. I did leave my. Hey, Gabrielle, can you grab my phone? This is somewhere around there. Lost my phone.
We're gonna find it.
Yeah, I'll just call it. But welcome back to another episode of the Late Night Show with Dr. Kojo. I'm your host, Kojo, checking in from sunny Los Angeles. It's actually a sunny day today, so I'm extremely grateful for that. I'm calling it, so it should be good. So before we get to questions, let me know where you all are checking in from, and I will answer your questions. I'll answer your questions. Am I sitting on my phone?
I hear it. Oh, that's right. It's under your coat. Okay. Okay, so I'm not running crazy.
Thank you very much. Appreciate that. All right. I had an ADHD moment. I lost my phone, so we're back. Let's get it. People are checking in from Maryland. Look, you all, I get 1,000 messages, and the majority of them I can't legally reply because I can't, create that provider-patient relationship. So I get tons of messages every day, but like I do love y'all, and I'm so thankful that y'all follow. Ghana stand up, New Jersey in the house, Virginia Beach, Maryland, Sultan, Washington, South Texas. Kendra, I know I'm in the middle of shooting content. So I'm in that content mode. Lauren, congratulations. I'm gonna go ahead and claim that you passed your NCLEX. You're gonna be RN. Chesapeake, Virginia. Any tips for ADHD in a relationship? All right, so we can start off with this, Joe, because I know you all want to get your questions off. So I want to answer as many questions as possible. So real quick, tips for ADHD in a relationship. If you're just starting a relationship, pace yourself. You may not want to spend every single day with them in the beginning because you don't want to, like love bombing. You want to make sure that you take your time and that you actually get to know the person. And if things don't work out and y'all just friends, that's fine. But pace yourself in the beginning and definitely, if you can, find a nice way to explain to your partner how ADHD affects you, because for me, like I'll be forgetful. I'll lose my phone here and there. Sometimes I might stay up and then I will have to wake up in the morning to see patients and I'm too tired because, I was writing things or I was trying to get my bills paid. So just talk to your partner and they should understand you and see where you're coming from. A good question. How to deal with sexual anxiety because of trauma. Mackenzie, this is a good question. And I think this is where, once you're in a relationship with somebody and you care about them, at some point you reach a point where you can talk to them about certain things. So just letting them know, hey, you may not have to share the whole trauma, right? It may take you a while to get to that point, right? So talk to them and say, hey, I went through a couple of things in my past because of those things. I need some time to kind of like get situated, or I need time to really, get to that point where you're intimate, right? So just communicate with your partner. How can I get tested for ADHD or BPD? So Brianna, this is where a psychiatric evaluation would get the job done. As difficult as it is to get a diagnosis of ADHD, I think it'd be harder, right? If you get a diagnosis of BPD, because you'd have to have like a therapist who would have seen you for a while, and you want somebody to diagnose you and then also provide you with the proper help, right? You don't want them to just say, oh, you have this, and then send you on your way. So I would say you can start by typing psychiatrist near me or psychologist near me, and then look at the people in your area. If you feel like you don't get serious, if you feel like your doctor doesn't take you seriously, maybe time to find a new one. How can you tell if someone borderline personality disorder is being genuine? I would say, look, you can't tell if anybody's being genuine, right? I don't know if this is like specific to a certain thing. You don't know if anybody's being genuine, right? So for me, I don't question whether somebody's genuine or not. You talk to them and you see where things go, and over time, like if you have an issue, approach the issue as you would with any other issue. But I wouldn't really try to see if they're being genuine or not, right? Because it takes a lot of energy out of you. Is by y'all asked me some good questions today. I'm gonna try to answer this question right here without saying any names. And those who know, that's all I say about that. But is bipolar disorder ever diagnosed with brain scans? No, you do not diagnose any mental health condition with a brain scan. Bipolar disorder, depression, ADHD. There's no brain scan that tells you that you have a certain thing. So, um, I mean, but hey, what do I know? I only have the number one psych personal brand in the world. But you don't use a brain scan to diagnose mental health conditions, right? You talk to a professional, and then based off of the symptoms, they're gonna see if it lines up with things in the DSM-5. I truly believe I'm bipolar and ADHD. I was diagnosed with bipolar disorder as a teen. So you could have bipolar disorder and ADHD. I've had patients who've had both. You could be diagnosed with bipolar disorder as a teen. But at least the way I was trained in school, we don't diagnose people with brain scans. But I know I'm making social media content, so it might be harder for me to stay up to date with the evidence. But last time I checked, we don't diagnose mental health conditions with a brain scan. Um, so many questions here. I want to be able to answer you all those questions. Uh, does depression and ODD come? All right, so Patricia, with ADHD, you have a lot of. I like to say that ADHD comes to the party with a lot of cousins, right? So a lot of times with ADHD, you have depression and or anxiety. And in fact, adults who get diagnosed with ADHD a lot of times present with either depression and or anxiety. And especially with women, a lot of times people are like, "What's going on? Was she depressed or anxious first?" But then she could have had ADHD, which led to everything else, right? So you can see uh, depression, anxiety, eating disorders, OCD, bipolar. You can see a lot of things with ADHD. So, how do I get my preteen to talk to me about his day without being too intrusive? Too intrusive. Ooh, that's a good question right there. This is tough because like I don't have any kids, but as a parent, you have to try and balance that dynamic between being your child's friend versus like being their parent. So you don't want to be too cool, right? But at the same time, you want to be able to have that rapport with them. I think depending on how your child is, find a way to talk about the tough topics and questions that you have. But like maybe use humor or find a nice way to kind of slide it in there and without being weird. Like if you're being weird, your team will call you out and they'll be like, "Mom, Dad, you're being weird." You know. How do I? Ooh, that's a good question. I haven't had this one in a while. How do I manage depersonalization and derealization? Also, I think obviously the answer is professional help, but a lot of times I like to try and figure out why, like, where is this coming from? Right? Is this coming from a lot of times trauma? You might have to work through the trauma, right? Because that could be what is behind the DPDR. So it's good to get to the root cause of things, and also like not judging yourself, right? If you just realize that you're dissociating, or you feel like you're doing that, and people can realize in your public, like it can be embarrassing to be out in a public setting and like you just kind of dissociate, and people are like, "Where are you?" So have a lot of empathy for yourself, and then work on the root cause. Um, 3 years after divorce from a narcissist, my kids are just having flashbacks, panic attacks. Is this normal? Am I crazy? So Yolanda, what I would say is, uh, trauma has many different ways of presenting itself, and if something triggers you, like it's good to first of all to not judge yourself or think that like you're crazy, or is it normal, and still trying to figure out if it's normal or not. Figure out like, is this something that is for you is troublesome, right? And of course, like we don't want flashbacks or panic attacks, but you may have been triggered about something, and there's no shame in that. So you have to definitely, like, if this happened to a friend, how would you talk to your friend who this is happening to? Make them feel safe, and don't let them feel bad for feeling this way, because the next time that this happens to you, you may isolate further, right? And then you're not reaching out to friends or getting professional help because you feel like you're the only one who is having this type of scenario. But this a lot of people struggle with this. you know does does taking your ADHD medicine slow down your anxiety? This is a good one, Caitlin. So a lot of times I've seen this stimulants in particular. I've seen them shoot up people's anxiety. So this is why, like, psychopharmacology, like, is an art, right? Because if stimulants work really well, but then anxiety is becoming an issue, you may want to switch the medication, or you can keep them on that medication and give them something for anxiety. But a lot of times I've seen stimulants, in my personal experience, kind of drive up the anxiety. Oh my gosh, so many good questions here. Let me get some of these in right here. And people are saying that mine does. The stimulants do make them anxious. Uh, is there a Discord? Kendra, so there's not a Discord group partly because I'm not sure how to set it up and manage it. But you might be watching from your desktop. But yeah, get the Facebook app and keep up with me. We do have the app coming out. My friends and I, self-funding project. We put all of our time, money, and energy into this app, and it's going to be an accountability app to help people with ADHD, but anybody, right? So in the app, you all will get to see what I do in the morning, right? I'll take you all along with me. All I have to do is I have to work out and I have to eat a good breakfast, and then I've satisfied my requirements for the day. Of course, I have other things to do, but then I can see if y'all are working out or eating breakfast in the day, right? And when I say workout, just going for a walk and eating a good breakfast, right? And for me, one day we'll talk more about ADHD and diet, but I like to have a high protein, rather low carb diet. And also, like, I drink water primarily, right? Not only for the water breaks, but just water. And sometimes it's good to keep like some Gatorade. For me, I keep a little bit of Gatorade on me to regulate my blood sugar throughout the day, right? Because you don't want it to dip and then you're struggling to focus that much more. Real quick, Ayana, I don't know what the first comment you said, but if you're talking about human trafficking and things like that, it is a real issue. And I've been trying to educate myself more on this because I believe like this is happening in plain sight. There's a lot of victims, and I've had patients who have come out of this and talked about it. So as I know more and as I work with Facebook to find more resources about this, I'll put that out. Liz, I see you commented this a couple of times, so I can't like comment on Wellbutrin specifically or your medications. I've used this from my patients before, but like for you specifically, what you'd have to do is you'd have to go to your doctor and let them know this. And I'm, like I say all the time, I'm the point guard. I'm just the one dribbling the ball up and down the court, and I pass you the ball and you dunk it. But we wouldn't want you to feel lost and empty, and depressed, right? So if you're taking a medication for something that should make you feel lighter and less depressed, and you're not feeling that way, it could be a good time to, check back in with your doctor and, just have that conversation and see what's up. See what's up. Do you believe that if one has a mental illness, they can become? Oh, look what I'm doing. I talk about having ADHD, and does it affect me when I do all this stuff? Yeah, for sure. But I'm just more self-aware now, and I have a team around me, and it's very helpful to have my team. So I feel like when I post my content and when I make my videos, I feel like I can't miss, right? And some videos will miss and not have a lot of views or engagement, but if not, I'm gonna learn, and if my videos start to suck for some reason, I'm just going to ask you all, how can I provide value for you? How can I make your life easier with this content? So yeah, I pay attention, and I think I've been fairly successful in my career, and I think I'm doing okay online. And I talk about having ADHD, but I think a lot of times, like depending on the mental illness that you have, people might tell you certain things, right? So I see it more so with people who have like schizophrenia, schizoaffective bipolar, where somebody will tell them, oh, you have schizophrenia, you can't be a business owner, right? And then you grow up thinking, oh, I can't do this. And if enough people tell you that you can't do something, you believe it over time. So that thought that you can't, be what you want to be, I don't believe that. I think you can definitely do it, Brittany. Can BPD ever be fully managed? I think so. May life be harder? May relationships be harder? May things be harder? Yeah. But like I said on the previous live, from what I've seen in the past, like when you have somebody with BPD who has a healthy relationship with somebody who has a healthy relationship with themselves, then I see a lot of improvement. I hope that didn't go over your head, because as I was saying that, I was like, "This is making any sense?" Like I'm talking in circles. I want to make sure that I didn't run circles around myself. Michelle, this is a good question here. And once I know, I will let you all know. But that's a really good question right there. And Tanji, I appreciate that. Thank you so much. I really and like I said, y'all, it kind of pains me that I can't reply to all these messages like that you all send me. But like I said, I don't want to establish a patient-provider relationship, and I don't want to. If I can't provide value to you all, then what am I doing? But when people leave DMs and say I'm doing a good job, sometimes I will read it. Sometimes I might be on my phone at night and I catch it, and it does make me smile. So I do appreciate that. I do appreciate that. My good question right here. How did I cope with my ADHD growing up unmedicated? So African parents are dismissive of, not all African parents, but a lot of African parents, right? That's the running joke, that African parents can be dismissive of mental health. So my mom didn't even believe in ADHD. So she refused a diagnosis for me when I thought that I had it. So in my head, I didn't know that I had ADHD. So I lived life as somebody who didn't have it. So like I was getting good grades in school. Now, was I having to work harder and work on the weekends? Yeah, I was having to, work harder, homework, do it the last second. I went through all that, but I didn't know. So, either way, like that was my childhood. So sometimes I'm like, would it have been better to, that's how God intended. If that's how the cookie crumbled, that's fine. Amy says, is BPD untreated trauma? It could be, like I'll tell you all the time, I don't have the answers to everything. And, I want to say that BPD is the most studied personality disorder, but it's like the more we know, the more we don't know, right? But it could be. Amy, I've thought this before, right? But I'm humble enough to tell you all that when I don't know the answer, I don't know. So, and I like when y'all ask me questions that I don't know, because then it's a opportunity for me to learn a little bit more. Why do Michelle? I'm not sure. I mean, some doctors are overwhelmed, and they're doing the best that they can. I mean, and so some doctors suck too, right? So it depends. Thoughts on people microdosing mushrooms for depression, PTSD, and depression. I've been researching it, and it was just curious. Jessica, I like this question, and I didn't know too much about this until I moved to California, and everybody was talking about microdosing. I was like, is that something in the water? But I think, like you all know, we use people are talking about ketamine for depression, and we have esketamine, the nasal spray, right, for FDA approved for, I want to say, treatment resistant depression. So I think there's something to be said here. I think the people in Washington or Portland, Oregon, I think they're a little bit further with their research. I think we should pour more money in, and we should be researching psychedelics. I'm in favor of it. I haven't talked about publicists about if there's something that I could talk about online, but I think if there's anything that can help people out, why not? Let's study it. Let's see if it can be helpful. But until there's actual evidence that says that this works for this and that works for that, if we pour money into researching psychedelics and we figure out that this one thing works way better than Zoloft for depression, then we should do that, right? We should do what we need to do to help people out. But regardless of however many followers I get on social media, I'm only going to ever promote evidence-based information, right? It has to be evidence-based information, because if I'm making it up, then I'm, I tell you all things that I would tell my family, right? I don't want to BS y'all. So it has to be evidence-based information. It's coming from evidence, it's certified, right? So, and of course, Facebook threw me the blue check, right? So they don't want any misinformation. I would never want to present that to you all, but I think we should look into all avenues. People are suffering, right? Don't let people suffer. Don't let people suffer. Can PTSD be misdiagnosed for BPD? Yeah, look, people are human. Like I'm sure I've missed a couple of diagnoses before in the past, and if I've done that, then like I that would suck. That I would have hoped that that patient maybe was diagnosed properly, but I know I can say with all my heart that like in my professional life, I've given 110% for every single patient. So, but we are human. We could miss a diagnosis. We can miss a diagnosis. Kat, I appreciate you. And look, I'm not here without this community. So, people are like, why are you going live? Take time for yourself. I do take time for myself. I enjoy coming out here to do this. So, I mean, I'm not here without you all. So, thank you very much. Leilani, yes, there are non-stimulant meds for ADHD kids. Yeah, but keep in mind that the first line treatment, like normally when you would go in, it would be a stimulant, right? Because those get to the issue faster, and better, a lot of times I've seen, but they don't work for everybody, right? So you can't just give a child an Adderall and be like, go do your homework. Let me see. Yeah, Amy, false information is part of the problem. Yeah, like I wouldn't tell my sister something false, right? So I can tell you all, and you all know to keep me accountable, right? If I ever post anything on my page and y'all like, hold up, like like I'm not no superhuman. Like I make mistakes, so please keep me accountable. And we've been good so far. So like, if something is off, y'all will let me know. And let me answer a couple more questions, and then time to get your water, y'all. Coping with BPD in a relationship, it feels impossible to stop toxic traits. I was diagnosed and given no treatment plan. I think that's part of the problem, Hannah. If you were diagnosed and given no treatment plan, it's like they set you up for the okie doke, right? It's kind of like they gave you a peanut butter sandwich without the. Well, actually, no, because the peanut butter sandwich still tastes good. They set you up for the okie doke. You're supposed to have a treatment plan afterwards, right? Like the standard treatment would be dialectical behavioral therapy, and I'm a big fan of that. I think that anybody can benefit from DBT. Honestly, it's just like another way of regulating your emotions. But like when you write that, when you say it feels impossible to stop toxic traits, like if you feel like something is impossible, you probably won't do it, right? Like if you know something's possible, then you'll do it. So getting that help to where you can cognitively reframe things, I think it help you out. But keep in mind, you were given a job and you were, somebody gave you a job to do, but they didn't give you the proper tools. So, I'm a big fan of Connor. I'm a big fan of Connor on TikTok. We're actually mutuals. I'll comment on his stuff all the time. I've never actually, yeah, what? I'm gonna collab with him. That's like long overdue. I'm a big fan of his content, and like I'm working on like my acting and trying to make sure that the scenarios appear real. And he's a fantastic actor. So I'm a big fan of Connor. Big fan of Connor. All right. It's almost time for last time I was practicing, we still prescribed Focalin. It's almost time for that water break. I need somebody to drop the magic word in there. So JC, this is the treatment option for BPD. Maybe we'll just do a whole BPD live one day. But sometimes you can use medications for it too. But I would say it should be more so individualized. Like it should be based on that person, right? All right. Cheers. Cheers. I love the water break. I love the water break. Oh, Bridget, you know what? I think if you all want this, we could do like a whole live on DBT one day. I think that'd be helpful. And keep in mind, you have to be trained in DBT, and I'm not trained in DBT, but I've worked with BPD patients before, and I've researched it, but I'm not trained in DBT, so I'll just go ahead and let y'all know. You know, I told y'all I'll never lie to y'all, but I'm a big fan of DBT, but I'm not like trained in. Courtney says yes. All right, Courtney. Looks like that's what I might do. Cheers, Miss Julie. I appreciate it. Ashley says she missed it. Actually, you know, we're probably gonna have the and I might actually. It'd be good to bring a therapist who's trained to be in DBT, you know, so that way I can. Yeah, yeah. I know somebody. I know someone. I know someone. I know someone. All right, let me answer this question, and then I gotta pee, and then I gotta head out for dinner. All right, let me answer this question. How do we deal with chronic pain and depression? So you know what's funny, April? If you asked me, if you said how do we deal with chronic pain, and you left it right there, I would tell you to find a professional in the area. If you took out the chronic pain and you just said how do we deal with depression, I would tell you to find somebody. Both of those two things are either one could make life like difficult. And Leilani, we will bring back the video today. I'm happy that you even didn't forget about that. Leilani is an OG, but chronic pain can literally, you know, it can not say like make your day. I mean, it could, but like it takes away from quality of life. Same thing with depression, right? So I think this is good. A good way to do it is to bring it up to your primary care provider, your PCP, and or if you have a psych, bring it up to your psych, right? And see, you know, what they could do about it. But I think this is important to talk about it. And Courtney, I see your comment. Yeah, I'll bring on the proper experts. Like, I mean, I could talk about dialectical behavioral therapy on my own, right? But if I have somebody who's trained in it, I think that'll provide you all more value, right? It's all about what you all want, you know, y'all the audience. But April, back to your question. I got distracted. Chronic pain and depression, bring it up to your provider, you know, and it's funny because like I've had patients tell me about their pain, and I'll listen. Like I don't prescribe painkillers. Like I've never done that, but you know, like certain antidepressants, you know, could be good for you know somebody who has chronic pain and depression. You know, Cymbalta comes to mind, and I'm not recommending it for you, you know, or telling you, you know, obviously this is just educational information, but I've had patients before in the past who had pain, and I've been able to like you know maybe use you know Cymbalta or FX or we just came together with a plan to help their depression out and also help their pain. Lyrica, I see Lyrica on the right, yeah. So I think this is where we have professional help. You know, and I mentioned those medication names because sometimes people are like, oh my gosh, there's a medication that can help with pain and depression. You know, I think if you know that options exist for you, you'll be more likely to go out there and to find a professional. So that's what I would say. Yep. All right, y'all. So I'm about to uh I'm about to dip out of here, but this has been dope. And I actually do go back and read some of the comments after the lives, but I'm gonna have my assistant keep an eye on it to see what people are asking about. But we'll definitely have that borderline live. Like I can guarantee y'all that. And we'll have it as a late night show, right? Or I might do a poll and see if like when we're doing like an educational topic, do y'all prefer that in the morning or you prefer it at night? And like whatever y'all want is what I'm gonna make sure that y'all get. So love your name, my grandbaby. I'm trying to figure out how a white lady's grandbaby has the name Kojo. I think it's cool, but I was like, what? Or I mean, maybe it's your son-in-law or something, but I think it's cool. All right, y'all. I'm getting distracted. Take care, y'all. I love y'all, and I'll be back actually tomorrow for the morning show, and I'll use the right logo tomorrow. So y'all take care.